Hello, what is up, guys? Eman from Peso Smart PH here. Welcome to a new episode. Shout out to all the podcast listeners as well. I appreciate you all. Today, we will be remembering Charlie Munger. So, unfortunately, he died at 99 years old. He is an investing guru and the right hand to Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway. So he died in a California hospital on Tuesday, according to a company statement. So, independent of being Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman, Munger was a rock star and a legendary investor who served as CEO of Wesco Capital until 2011, when Berkshire took over control of the company. So together, Buffett and Munger catapulted Berkshire to 20.1% annual gains. That is twice the rate of the S&P 500 with their innovative investing philosophies and a lot of not really straightforward but streamlined bets. As of this year, Munger's net worth was $2.5 billion. And Berkshire Hathaway could not have been built to its present status without Charlie's inspiration, wisdom, and participation, Buffett said in a statement. So yeah, and in this video we're just gonna explore all of the things that he said and all of the ideas that he put through that have made an impact on my life in general and my investing, we can say, career or investing journey. So this is Charlie Munger, and I believe this was a couple of years back. This was at a annual stockholders meeting with Berkshire Hathaway, because Warren Buffett and Charlie, they always have this annual stockholders meeting, and then it's sort of like a press conference for all of the stockholders or shareholders of the company. So it's a yearly event. So yeah. So the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. So Charlie Munger said this before, and again, he is correct, because most of new investors pull out their capital as soon as the stock they bought goes down. So you won't be able to take advantage of compounding interest if you consistently do this. So that is a pitfall for the newbies. At first, you can change that moving forward. The market is inherently volatile, and it is a feature, not a bug. So having a long-term time horizon for your investments will give you a better chance of making money. And if you stick long enough, it guarantees it. Because there was a study, I can't really remember the source, but for example, you have the downside for 1 year of investing, you have the upside. You also have it for 5 years, for 10 years, and for 20 years, there is a 100% guarantee that you will make money. So it's a guaranteed 100% win if you just stick long enough. And then timing the market is better than timing the market. I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but most of them will be, day traders, swing traders, or whatever kind of trader they are. But yeah, for long-term investors, this is like the creed or like the motto that we have. And then on being flexible and open-minded. So if what you have decided isn't working, change your mind early rather than late. So don't persevere with losing solutions. As Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger said, when the facts change, you have to change your mind. So this this is hard. It's very hard to wrap your head around this idea sometimes. I personally have a hard time practicing it or applying it to my own life. I grew up with the never give up mentality, and pretty sure if you're Filipino, then you also have that sort or that kind of mentality. This caused me to sink into a hole whenever I'm in a losing situation, often being a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You have to be comfortable with throwing in the towel. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You have to be flexible enough to pivot your strategy in order to course correct. So quitting or changing your mind isn't for losers. It's an essential step for you to try something new and discover better ways to achieve your goals. Then moving on to risk and expectations. So Charlie Munger said that the best way to achieve felicity is to aim low. You have to remember that comparison is the thief of joy. Nowadays, people love comparing their lives with celebrities, famous and rich people. So it has become the norm in social media. And trying to aim for something that somebody else already achieved can be inspiring. However, you have to truly know yourself first, because we all have different circumstances, different privileges, different goals, different wants, different needs, and different personalities. So there's no one size fits all approach in life. So what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. And the same thing goes for everyone else, right? What works for you, for example, you're a trader or something like that, it doesn't necessarily work for me. Again, there's no one size fits all approach. So set the proper expectations and work towards your own happiness and sense of contentment or fulfillment. And then moving on, this idea was from the book 80-20 principle. So you don't need tremendous force to create tremendous results. Gains actually come from a small percentage of actions. So Charlie Munger said that if you remove just a few of Berkshire's top investments, its long-term track record is pretty average. So if they weren't able to buy, for example, a specific stock or specific stocks previously, then Berkshire wouldn't have been performing very well over the years. And the reason for that are only a few stocks, right? Like, for example, Geico or Coke. So their portfolio is not really widely or largely diversified. So they just focus on most of their winners. And then simplicity versus complexity. So you have to do some quiet thinking, and you have to mine a few small pieces of previous insight and then act selectively on a few objectives and a narrow front, decisively and impressively, to produce terrific results with as little energy and as few resources as possible. So again, going back to the 80-20 principle, and this is also the topic of the book Essentialism. So you just focus on the essential few instead of spreading yourself like too thin. So instead of focusing on a lot of things and being, let's say, D minus or like C plus on those things, you can be, A plus, A or A minus in a few things only. So Charlie Munger explained this in their 2023 stockholders meeting or conference with Berkshire, and this is essentially what he and Warren Buffett do. So they don't, buy all of the stocks that they think will perform well. They only pick those few stocks that they are almost 100% sure will deliver good returns moving forward. So simple is really beautiful, but business people seem to love complexity. So that's why they have a lot of complicated roles and complicated processes that they introduce, because they get paid if they're doing something complex. So business returns actually abhor complexity, and as the business becomes more complex, its returns fall dramatically. So Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett mentioned this in one of their annual stockholders meeting event. They said that both of them love to do the simplest of things, especially with their investing approach. They both left the innovation and groundbreaking products or tech to the likes of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk. They can never do what those people did. They are both the epitome of applying the 80-20 principle. So doing the least effort for the most gain. So if you really think about it, I know a lot of people, they think that what Warren Buffett do, or his investing approach, is pretty complicated. But if you know how to read financial reports, then you can essentially imitate what he does. Although probably not like the same, track record or the same returns as him, but pretty close, I would say. Or you're probably gonna be able to beat the S&P 500. And a lot of people try to complicate that. They're saying that he has a secret or whatever, but he just simply studies the businesses, and he checks like the leaders. Are they competent? Are they trustworthy? And they also check, of course, the track record and the future earnings of those companies, because the past records, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can do that again in the future. So you have to be good at forecasting. And then on learning. So Warren Buffett said, no, not Warren Buffett, sorry. Charlie Munger said, I have said that in my whole life, I've known no wise person over a broad subject matter area who didn't read all the time. So one of the reasons why I picked up the habit of reading again last year is because all of the successful people that I admire and aspire to be are readers. So Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Ryan Holiday, Marcus Aurelius, Malcolm Gladwell, Og Mandino, Seneca, and Epictetus, they're all readers. So why shouldn't I be? And as Harry Truman said, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders have to be readers. And then lastly, pick the right role models. So Charlie Munger said that there's no reason to look only for living models. The eminent dead are, in the nature of things, some of the best models around. So some of the dead role models that I have, Og Mandino, Marcus Aurelius, and Marcus Aurelius lived like more than 2,000 years ago, right? And then same thing for Seneca and Epictetus. And those are all Stoics. So you don't really have to like look for, current or like living role models. You can always look back. And lastly, we all have our own definition or idea of being rich or wealthy. So Charlie Munger said that, like Warren, I had a considerable passion to get rich. Actually, I believe he's being too liberal with the term rich, because rich, you have a very high income, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have low expenses, because wealth is essentially money that you don't spend. So if you're wealthy, then you have a lot of money that you don't spend. But if you're rich, it can be the case that you have a very high income, but you also have a very high expense rate. So essentially, you're not saving anything. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're also wealthy. So hope that makes sense. And not because I wanted Ferraris, so that hindi yun yung main motivation for Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. They both wanted independence, and they both desperately wanted it. Because, if you're rich, if you're wealthy, then you have a lot of options, right? For example, if you have a high savings rate, then you can probably go travel, and you can also put up a business, invest in a business, or invest in the stock market, or invest in anything that you want. Like, for example, you can buy books, so to improve yourself. You can enroll in a school. For example, the actual program or course that you really wanted to study, but you didn't have the chance when you were first in college or in the university. Or you can also enroll in courses, online courses, so that you can upskill, improve your skills. So yeah, that's basically it for our little look back, or like tribute for Charlie Munger. So yeah, thanks Charlie. He almost lived to 100 years, but unfortunately he didn't. So he was 99 years old when he died a couple of days ago. But yeah, I learned a lot from Charlie Munger, and a lot of his principles and investing strategies I still use and apply in my own life. So yeah, hopefully this helps you out as well, and hopefully you learn a thing or two from Charlie Munger. So yep, that's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching and listening. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Always remember, be Peso smart.